Emerald Hunters, and welcome to today's video. My name is Rebecca Ravenbird and I am your club owner. Today we're going to be talking about the club information tabs here. So basically this is going to be a tutorial on how to read and navigate each of these tabs so you can be a successful club member. So on this first tab here with the members, we're going to go over the different ranks here. So obviously there can only be one club owner, and that is me. Then our next rank is experienced riders, and experienced riders are our advanced students, advanced dressage students I should say. And then the next two ranks here are the trainees. Trainees are our intermediate students. And then we're going to skip member for a minute because that requires more explanation. So we're going to go down to novice. Now novice is our beginning dressage students. So members have a few different functions in the club. Basically, a member can be somebody who just entered the club for the first time and they're sort of observing and looking at the club procedures and the rules and things like that. So they're just kind of trying out the club for a little bit. They could also be waiting for an interview from me. I can let them into the club, but they won't be able to do anything until they get an interview from me and until I change their rank from member to something else. So the member rank could also mean that you're waiting on a test from me, a dressage test. So basically, if you say that you're an intermediate student in your interview, I would want to give you an intermediate test to see if you stay at that level or if you move up or down one of the ranks. And then finally, the member rank can also mean that this is an alt account. So we have one of our members using an alt account and a main account with this club. You can add an alt account to the club. Basically, you just have to let me know and then you'll be at the member rank, and the member rank doesn't change if you're using this as an alt account. And the reason that some people have alt accounts is so that if they are chat banned and they still need to come to lessons and practices, they can come on their alternate account, and hopefully that account isn't chat banned so they can use chat for dressage. Moving on to the club info tab here, we have a little greeting at the top here, and I'm going to emphasize these last three sentences here. The basic rules are in the rules tab, which we're going to get to. Check back on Sundays for schedule updates. We're also going to get to that in the club calendar. And our club YouTube channel is Rebecca Ravenbird. So you have to search this in YouTube basically if you have access to it. I obviously cannot put a link into this box here, so be sure to search up my channel name, Rebecca Ravenbird. Up next is our club horse, which is the Lusitano or the Andalusian. I don't have a preference of which horse you use. I will specify though if we have a show or some sort of performance which horse I would like for you to use, but otherwise you can have a Lusitano or an Andalusian and bring either one of those to practices. Additionally, we do allow magic horses into the club, so if you have a Fonzie or if you have an Umbra or an Isla, those are the Andalusian models. And then the two Lusitano magic horses, I forgot what those are called, but they look like trees basically, those two. You can also bring those into the club. So magic horses are acceptable. Up next is our ally club, the Ocean Friends. Basically, if they invite us to one of their events, we should definitely go support them. And then they are always invited to come to our events as well. This next part is the time zone conversions, and this is probably the most important piece of information on this particular tab. Time zones are really important to keep in mind because not everybody lives in the same state that I do, and not everybody lives in the same state as you do. The times are always listed in Eastern Time. I probably should go into the club calendar and make all the conversions for you, but I want you to be aware of this in case I don't do that, or just in the event that you need to talk to me or anything. So, if Eastern Time is 3 p.m., that means Central Time is 2 p.m. 3 p.m., 2 p.m., you subtract 1 hour to get Central Time from Eastern Time. If Eastern Time is 3 p.m., that means Mountain Time is 1 p.m., so here you would subtract 2 hours from Eastern Time. If Eastern Time is 3 p.m., then Pacific Time is 12 p.m., so you would subtract 3 hours from Eastern Time. So that is the time zone conversions, and you'll be able to find how to actually do that on our club website, which I'll get to later, but this is probably the most important piece of information on this page, so please write this down. Please keep this in mind as we go through our activities. Up next is our outfit and tack requirements. The outfit and tack is pretty similar between the trainers and the members. The reason why I have a difference between trainers and members is to differentiate us as instructors and so we know who our students are. So basically, the trainers wear turquoise and the members wear green. And there are some differences, such as the shirt is different between the trainer and the students. And then for the tack, the leg wraps, the saddle pad, and the bows are different colors for each of us. Alright, moving on to the next tab, which is the club calendar. And this particular tab is probably the most important tab out of all 4 of these. You want to be checking this pretty often, at least once a day, in case there are any changes to the schedule, any last minute changes that I couldn't put in the Sunday updates. On Mondays, we have group dressage practices, and here's the format of how I write my calendars. So the first line is always going to be the date. The next line here, this is going to be the activity that we're doing. And then the next line is going to be the location, the writing arena, and the time that we're doing it. And as you can see, Eastern time zone is the time that I write in my calendars. Moving on to Tuesdays, as you can see, we just have a free day on Tuesdays usually. On Wednesdays, again, we have dressage practice. And as you can see here, the location changed. So at Jorvik Stables, we're going to be at Jorvik Stables on Wednesdays. On Thursdays, we usually either have a free day or we have some sort of activity or event or a meeting going on. So for this particular week, we had a meeting. And so I formatted this a little bit differently, but 5 p.m. Eastern in the Silverglade Meeting Hall. And right here, that is our agenda. That is what we talked about today. We talked about schedule changes. And then I did have an activity where we did off-rail dressage, and we tried to do it as a recruiting event. It got some attention, but it didn't lead to any new members, which was fine. But that is another thing that we did today. And then here, on this line here, we have an optional video. Now, I usually will let you know if it's a mandatory or an optional video, and the day that it is listed in this calendar here is the day that it's published to my channel. Anytime a video is uploaded to my channel, I will let you know about it. And optional videos, you don't have to watch them, but of course it's nice if you do. But mandatory videos, definitely you do have to watch those. And then on Fridays we have group dressage practice again, and we also have this little text down here. It says, please sign up for a private lesson today. So basically you have to communicate with me when you want your private dressage lesson, because we have our dressage lessons on Saturdays. So the reason I need you to coordinate with me is so that I understand that if you have a schedule change, that you let me know right away. Like if you can't make a lesson or anything like that, you can tell me. And another reason why I need you to coordinate with me is so that I can write it down in my calendar when our lesson is going to be, because I have a separate notebook with all of the information about the different moves that you're learning and if you're going to be taking a test anytime soon. So that's why I need you to talk to me about that. You can talk to me in club chat, or you can talk to me in mail. I would prefer it if you mail me, so that way I have a record, basically, like I have your information in writing, so that way I don't lose it. Like if I'm talking in chat or anything, I'll lose it eventually. So I would prefer it if you mail me, but you can talk to me in chat. And then on Saturdays, like I was mentioning earlier, we do have private lessons and tests. So basically, the private lesson schedule is empty right now because we haven't talked to any of the members about coordinating when they want their lessons. So basically, I would say member 1, member 2 has their lesson, and then member 3, obviously I can't write these real numbers, but when you coordinate with me, this is what it will look like. So that way you know who's before you and what time your lesson is going to be. Now, similar thing here. If you're going to be taking a test on this day, you would take a test. So I would say member 4, beginner test, something like that. We usually take our tests on this day. That way it gives you a little bit of time to practice. If you're like a new member, it gives you time to practice for your test and learn any skills that are specific to the Emerald Hunter's way of dressage. That way you can be as successful as you can. And then down here, I'm releasing this video tomorrow. I'm actually filming this video on Friday, but this is the video that I need you guys to watch. So mandatory video, how to navigate the club info, and then here's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So on Sundays, I usually update my schedule for the entire week. I try to do this once a week so that it gives you some sort of advanced warning of any changes or any activities that we're going to be doing. So that's what I like to do. And then we are having an activity on Sunday. We're going to be recruiting again, basically. And Sundays, they can be free days and things like that, but today I decided to have an event. And then we also have another mandatory video on how to navigate the club website. And then finally, let's go to the rules tab. There are quite a few rules here, and I need to explain a few of them. So the first one is, do not reveal any personal information, including your SSO password. It is extremely unsafe to talk about your login information for SSO. It is also extremely unsafe to talk about information that would identify you in real life, such as how tall you are, your hair color, where you go to school, how old you are, what state you live in. Do not talk about that with any club members or any players that are outside of this club. Do not talk about that with anybody. So the next rule is follow the outfit and tech guidelines exactly so you don't accidentally buy the wrong gear. Try to look in the global store for all of these items. I'm pretty sure every one of these items is in global store. The next rule is wear red if you're chat banned. Now here's what I suggest. I suggest you keep a red shirt on you, because if you're in the middle of practice or a lesson or an event and suddenly you get chat banned, you should have this on you so that you can immediately tell the club members that, hey, I'm chat banned. So keep it on you, find a shirt that you like, it doesn't matter what shirt, as long as it's red, so that I know that like you can't talk in chat anymore, basically. I do have a video on how to speak if you're chat banned, so I'm going to link that up in the card right here, so you can go check that out, and I will also link it down in the description below. That is also another mandatory video for Emerald Hunters members. The next rule is your horse must be max happiness and level for shows. Anytime we have a performance or some sort of show, your horse must be max happiness and level 15. Basically, the reason for that is so that we're cohesive and so that we can maintain our gaps. During practices, I'm a little more lenient with that. I would like, of course, for you to be max happiness and max level, but if you can't, that's fine, as long as you're working on it, as long as you're leveling up your horse at each practice and things like that, so that I know that you're making progress towards level 15. The next rule is mail me or your instructor if you can't make a lesson or practice. Now, we don't have any other instructors right now, I'm the only instructor, but you need to communicate with me if you cannot come. And do it as soon as possible. Sometimes you can't, and that's fine. So for this rule, I am trying to help you with communication skills. I need you to mail me or just send a chat and let me know that you're not going to be here for a lesson or a practice, because I want to know at a minimum that you're safe and that you're okay. And then if I know that you're okay, then I at least know that you're working on something in real life, because real life has priority to this club, right? So if you have something going on in real life that you can't make a lesson or practice, just let me know and I'll be understanding of that. Now, if you consistently don't communicate with me, if you can't make a practice or a lesson, and you've been missing a lot of practices and things like that, I'm going to try to reach out to you and contact you and say, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Is there something going on that I need to know about? Because if you keep me some practices and you don't tell me, I'm going to assume that you have been inactive or are not allowed to play the game or anything like that, or there's something going on at home that has my more priority, which of course real life has priority to this club, but as I need to know that kind of thing as much as possible. If it turns out that real life needs to take more of a forefront to this club, then that's totally fine. Just let me know. Otherwise, I will just end up removing you from the club, and then that could lead to some tensions between you and me because we didn't communicate earlier. So it's really important for this kind of thing that you talk to me if you have any issues with the schedule. So the next rule here is practices are for groups and last for 45 minutes to an hour. Lessons are private and last 30 minutes. So it's really important that practices and lessons are between Emerald Hunters members. Try not to invite any of your friends to watch or to be a part of the lesson, because I don't know what their dressage level is, but I know what your dressage level is. So we need to focus on what our level between the club is, and so that we can make progress as a club. And it can be quite distracting for me as an instructor if we have friends that come over. So as much as possible, I need you to be focused on these lessons, because we have a lot of material to go through, and it's especially difficult with the chat because you have to read, you have to interpret, and you have to analyze what I'm saying to you, so that you can do the moves correctly, basically. So it's important that you focus so that you can get the most out of these lessons. In terms of distractions, definitely put away your phone. Unless you have notes on your phone, you can take notes on the different moves and concepts on your phone and things like that, as long as you're not using it for making phone calls, texting other people, going on social media, anything like that. So definitely use your phone for practice purposes, but otherwise, please put it away. Alright, the next rule is try to get all of the items as soon as possible and let me know if you can't. So by items, I mean the club outfit and the horse. I know that sometimes people don't have consistent star writer, like they don't have lifetime like I do, so they're not getting star coins as often. It's okay if you can't get the items, but I just want you to get them as soon as possible and let me know, especially in your interview. Basically, you're just going to tell me how long it would take for you to get the items. Now, obviously, I can't really wait a year for you to get all of these items, but if you can get some of the items right now, but you can't get all the other items, then just let me know that and it's fine. So the next rule is pretty important. Topics about sex, violence, and bad words are prohibited in this club. You will be warned 3 times before being suspended from the club. After a 3rd warning, you will be suspended for 1 week. Continue breaking of these topics will be subject to permanent bans. Alright, so these pretty much are like the big 3 of things you cannot talk about in this club: sex, violence, or bad words. This is a child-friendly club because there are children in this club and there are children who watch our club and maybe want to be in our club. We are trying to make this a safe environment for all ages. In terms of the warning system, basically, if you violate a rule, you get a warning. If you violate it again, that's your 2nd warning. If you violate it a 3rd time, that's another warning. And if you violate it a 4th time after that, then you're going to be suspended from the club, because I gave you 3 chances to work on your behavior and understand what you're doing is wrong for this club, and you didn't listen. The next rule is consider talking privately with the club owner or leaders for help on serious issues. The reason for this is we want to make sure that you are getting the proper attention and help that you need, because not every club member is equipped and knows how to talk to members that need help on serious issues. The next rule is don't miss club meetings. I will assume you agree to any changes if you don't come. So let's say I'm gonna make a huge change to the club tack and the club outfit. If you don't come to the meeting where we talk about that, the change is gonna happen and you're just gonna be surprised by that change. But if you do come to that meeting, you get to put your input and your feedback, and you get to say whether you like the ideas or not like the ideas and suggest different changes. So you get to be a part of the changes that I make during a meeting. So it's important that you come so that you don't miss out and that you don't get surprised by any changes. So this next rule, I should probably change this, but it says watching club videos is required unless otherwise specified. So in the calendar here, like I mentioned earlier, I will let you know if a video is mandatory or optional. It's great if you watch the videos on my channel, and if you don't, that's fine, but the mandatory videos at a minimum is what I want you to watch. And then finally, the rule down here, which I talked about earlier in the members tab, is the ranking system will be discussed, and like I said, you'll find more information on our club website about how the ranks work and what the different jobs and roles are for each of the different ranks. So yeah, I will talk about the ranks a little bit maybe during your interview, and then as you enter the club for the first time, you'll be put as a member, and then you'll change to one of these other ranks when you do your test, do your interview, things like that. Alrighty everybody, I hope that was really helpful for you. Please let me know if you have any questions about the different club information in the comment section below, and if you are a new member in the club, please be sure to subscribe to this channel because I will be putting out mandatory videos here on this channel, so you don't want to miss out on those. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!